So the first thing to do this problem that I'm going to do is I'm going to set up that I have my divisor, which the first one is my divisor, so it's 6x cubed minus 3x squared, but I have to leave a blank because it has to be ordered, so it's cubed, squared, and then there'd be a first degree term, so I'm just going to leave a blank for that, and then the constant. And then I'm going to have my long division symbol, and then my 3x minus 6 out here. So I'm going to take my first one and I'm going to divide it by my first one. So that's going to give me 6x cubed divided by 3x. And so 3 goes into 6 2 times, x goes into x cubed, x squared times. And that's my quotient. So I'm going to put that above the x squared term. So 2x squared. Now I'm going to multiply because that's the next step in my division. So 2x squared times 3x minus 6. But I'm going to make it a minus because I want to subtract. So I'm going to distribute this through here, and then it's going to line up under here for my subtraction. So it'll be negative 6x cubed and then plus 12x squared. Now I'm going to remember that if this doesn't cancel out like this, become 0, I did it wrong. So this is 12 minus 3, which is 9x squared. And then I would bring down. But I have 0 x's, but I still have to have that. So now I'm going to start the process over again. I'm going to take the first term and divide it by the first term. So I have 9x squared divided by 3x. So that's going to give me 3x. So this goes into that, and then these will cancel, and that's 3x. So that's my quotient, which goes up here into my quotient. Now I'm going to multiply. So I have 3x, and then that's multiplied by 3x minus 6. And I'm going to change this to subtraction and then distribute that. So this is going to give me a negative 9x squared, and a negative times a negative is a positive, so positive, and 3 times 6 is 18, and that's x. And then I'm going to add them. So these add up to 0, so that's as it should be, and that adds to 18x, and then I'm going to bring down the plus 1. Now I do the process again, this term divided by this term. So I have 18x divided by 3x, and so 18 divided by 3 is 6, and that's my quotient. So I go up here, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to multiply the 6 times this. So 6 times 3x minus 6. But I need to subtract, so I'm going to put a subtraction out there and distribute. So that's going to give me a negative 18x. Negative times a negative is a positive, and 6 times 6 is 36. And then those are going to add to 0, and these add up to 37. And then this would be plus 37, but it's a remainder, so it has to be over that 3x minus 6. And so this would be my answer, 2x squared plus 3x plus 6 plus 37 over 3x minus 6. Now if I wanted to check it, I would multiply. I would do the quotient 2x squared plus 3x plus 6, and I'd multiply it by 3x minus 6. Now I'm going to do this as long multiplication, so I would have negative times a negative is a positive, or excuse me, negative times a positive is a negative, then a negative times a positive is a negative 18x, negative times a positive is a negative 12x squared. Now this one through, so we have 3 times 6, which is 18x, that's a positive. Positive times a positive is a positive, 9x squared. 3 times 2 is 6, x squared times x is x cubed. And then I'm going to add these up, so this is negative 36. This is going to be 0. This will be negative 3x squared. This will be 6x cubed. And then I'm going to bring in my remainder, 37, so plus 37. And then that's 6x cubed minus 3x squared. Oops. That doesn't look like a square, does it? And then plus 1. And then this should be the original 6x cubed minus 3x squared plus 1. And yes, and so that is a check. And remember, this was my check.